Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface. Now when I do my live streaming, there is a question I do get asked rather a lot. And that question is, which MOBA do I prefer, Dota 2 or League of Legends? And I always reply, Smite. To me, it's a bit of a no-brainer, because I'm somebody who never really gravitated towards the MOBA genre. I don't know why, it just never really appealed to me. Then one day, somebody said to me, Az, go on to smitegame.com, download this, it's a brand new MOBA, you'll absolutely love it. So I decided to defer to their better judgment, went onto the site, downloaded it, and to be honest with you, I've never looked back since. Now, it's easy for me to understand why, because Smite has everything that a typical MOBA doesn't. Although it has the similar layout and a similar kind of feel to it as regards to what the objectives of the game need to be, it was just that culmination of being in third person instead of top down, which gave me far more of a connection. The fact that you deal with deities from all different religions and walks of life, Zeus, Anubis, Ra, or my favourite, which is Vulcan, because he smacks the crap out of everything. It was just easy to see why. Very tight gameplay, very quick, very exciting indeed. Or the fact that it was actually free to play, which really kind of helped as well. So when I heard that it was also going to be available on the Xbox One, I just had to get involved in this. I really did have to test this out and see how it would fare up as the only MOBA available on console. And I tell you what, why didn't you join me as well? In the description down below, there's the download link to the Xbox and also the PC versions of the game, as well as the link to smitegame.com, so you can go onto the site and find out everything that you need to know about the title. Now, PC players, before you start to say, oh no, do I have to do everything from scratch again? Don't panic, because you can actually link your PC account to your Xbox One Smite account. And what that will do is transfer all the stuff that you have on the PC over to the Xbox One. So you don't have to start from scratch. You have all the gods, all the skins, everything that you had on the PC version at your fingertips ready on the Xbox One. And players that are brand new to the game, don't you panic either, because you always will have access to a rotation of gods at all times that will just change things up, as well as the fact that there are different game modes that will just allow you access to random gods, period. This way you never feel as if you're at a disadvantage at any time, and it doesn't interfere with your fun or enjoyment of the game at all. Now, when we hear the term free to play in this day and age, it tends to ring alarm bells with us instead of making us feel excited for what we have in store. It's the microtransaction model. Is it going to hit us hard in the pocket? And also, is it going to start to delay us or hold us back in our enjoyment of the game unless we start to shell out money? Well, again, this is probably another reason why I've really gravitated towards Smite, because the microtransaction model for this title is absolutely fantastic. Not only does it not force you into purchasing anything that you don't want to buy, but when you do think about making a purchase, the prices are insanely reasonable. In actual fact, on the Xbox UK store at the moment, you can purchase every single solitary god which is available, and that's currently about 60 to 70 right now, as well as every god that they'll release in the future for the low price of £24. That's currently equating to round about 30 pence a god. It's absolutely crazy. And if you think that all the others that they add over time are simply going to get put into your rotation of gods, you have got exceptional value for money. It's then that you decide whether or not to pimp up your gods by purchasing chests which will have various skins and various other goodies involved. But that is complete and utterly up to you, and you don't feel obliged should your means be very, very modest indeed. It's a brilliant microtransaction model that I believe a lot more companies should really learn from. Because if you feel as if you're playing a fun game and at the same time you're not being ripped off and well looked after, you're going to do what I do and what 10 million other players are currently doing, coming back for more of this title. There's also a plethora of different game types to suit your own kind of game style. If you're kind of nervous and want to do some practicing, fine, go off and do that. If you want to fight some AI bots instead, go off and do that. Or if you think you're ready for the big leagues and want to go PvP against other people, then there are plenty of options for you there. Some kind of standard game types, which you would absolutely expect to find in any MOBA, and then some really dynamic out-of-the-box game types too, that really kind of shake things up and keep things interesting if you just fancy a wee bit of a change every now and again. And if you're new to this game, there's no need to feel overawed or overwhelmed when you start your first fights, because there is an automatic feature which will choose the gear that you wear, as well as where the points go for your skills and abilities as you level up throughout the course of the battle. But once you become more comfortable with everything, your god, who you're fighting against, or if you're just more of an experienced player from the get-go, you can turn this feature off at any time whatsoever. This will allow you to choose from the hundreds of items available to equip onto your character, as well as where you put the points in your skills to really give yourself that level of depth when you're fighting. And the next big thing, of course, is the pad functionality. This is the first MOBA to ever go onto a console. So how does it translate moving from a keyboard mouse system into a pad orientated system? Now that could sound relatively scary, but I'm going to have to alleviate those fears immediately. I was so surprised at how easily it did translate and how quickly I managed to pick up on the control system of the pad as opposed to keyboard mouse without compromising any of my gameplay whatsoever. In actual fact, I found that my movement was a little bit more fluid, my awareness was certainly on point, and because your abilities and skills are mapped to the X, Y, A and B buttons, I actually found I was probably quicker to react when trying to get out of trouble and when I was trying to drop a big move on top of an enemy. So there's no fear whatsoever as regards to that element of gameplay. And gameplay is such an important word here because the gameplay of Smite is absolutely on point. It is fantastic. The fighting system is so frantic and frenetic, and yet at the same time it is so organic. Everything just comes so naturally when you're playing. You're never fighting the control system. You're never looking down wondering what I should press, if that should click in to go into there. None of that whatsoever. It's so fluid, it just makes it an absolute joy and pleasure to play. And currently, with 67 gods available, you can really choose exactly how you play this game. Are you an assassin? Do you want to leap in quickly, do a bit of burst and hopefully get the hell out of dodge before people get their hands on you? Are you a magic wielder that likes to blast people from the back of the pack? Or would you rather lead the charge and pimp yourself up as a massive tank, absorbing and soaking up huge quantities of damage and protecting the more vulnerable teammates behind you? Support options are also available, and if you want to heal and help out your teammates, those options are there as well. There is just so much variety. Your favourite god might not be somebody else's favourite god, and that's fantastic because it leads to such diversity when you see people in all the different game types. But let's just have a wee chat about my own personal favourite experience. And although I am a massive fan of the Conquest, which is, I'd say, more of a classical experience of the MOBA here, my personal favourite has to be the Assault game type. This is a single lane, claustrophobic experience where your Titan is simply protected by 1 Phoenix, 2 towers and 5 gods. which are randomly selected in the menu screen. You might be able to switch with your teammates, but you have a very short window to do so. And if you do get a god that you don't like, you have the option one time and one time only to re-roll. But that god itself will also be random, so be careful what you wish for. But when you get into this style of play, because it is so enclosed, that it just leads to some monumental exchanges, and you really have to be fully aware of when to advance and when to pull back, when to risk it to destroy the towers, and when to call it quits and go back on the full defensive. Smite is a really, really fantastic game, and the fact that it's now come over to the Xbox One gives it such an interesting dynamic and opens it up to a bigger audience and marketplace than it's currently had. And I'm fully advising you to go and try it. If you have an Xbox One, go and get it. If you don't have an Xbox One, go to the website smitegame.com, download it for free and start having some fun immediately. And I really hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description down below, as well as all the links to the Smite downloads and also the main website. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.